In today's video, we're going to be visiting one of the Lake District's most popular tourist spots, not only for photographers, but for those that are hiking and walking. We're going to be taking two of the most classic shots you can take, and we'll also have a little wander around, just to show you that there's a little bit more to this area than just the classics.
Morning, everyone. And a dull morning it is. Well, a very dark morning to you, everyone. Today, I'm up in the Lake District, and as you can see, yeah, it's very overcast. We're probably about 20 minutes away from sunrise. Now, there definitely isn't going to be one, but never mind. Camper over there. But we are at a honeypot location today. We're down at Blea Tarn. Well, welcome to today's video, and we're at the beautiful Blea Tarn. Oh, now, I did say in the past that I've been here before, and I haven't vlogged it because everyone's vlogged it, but today I'm away with the wife in the Lake District, and I had a chance to get a sneaky little video in as long as I go where she wanted to go, and she wanted to come here. So, today is Blea Tarn. I've already set up for my first composition. Okay, today is going to be a moody day. We're not going to get the sunrise. The sunrise comes in and it kisses those mountains. That's the Langdale pikes, so you've got Pike of Blisco back there. And it really does make for a fantastic shot, particularly if you can get the reflection in the water. But there are a few angles you can take it from. This one I think is my favourite, to be honest. You've got this side with the fence, you've got the other side of the fence, and then you've got the straight view that's just using some rocks as some foreground interest, where you open up everything, because from where I'm stood now, you do get these trees interfering with the Langdale pikes, but you do get that grand vista over there. I like this one because I was hoping there was going to be some autumnal colour. There is a little bit, but it is starting to strip bare here, so I'm a little bit late in the season. But yeah, I think this is my favourite angle. It's got a lot of foreground interest that's really, really cute. Now, the last time I was here, I think the fence was a little bit more upright. It's actually starting to fall into the tarn by the looks of it. But I think that adds a little bit of dynamic to the shot. I'll be honest, it's kind of curving in and bringing you into the scene. There are a few things you need to consider. So this is definitely a reflection shot. So you've got a lot of boulders in there. So positioning those so that they're not interfering with the reflection too much is one of the key elements. And the light's actually starting to pick up a bit, so the reflection's looking a lot more colourful. So I'm going to have to get this shot. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. Focus on one of the rocks, nice and wide. Everything else will fall into place. Now, as you can see, there's quite a few boulders in the shot, so I've got those positioned so that they're not in the reflection itself. Unfortunately, the fence does catch the edge of the reflection, but I can't do anything about that. I've tried different heights and standing further back, so that is what it is. But I'm hoping we get a little bit of clarity just up on the peak there, so I can get all of that in. A little bit of stillness in the water. And that should look lovely. It's a lovely moody day today. Good drama in the sky. Well, we're already starting to get people turn up. We've got another photographer over there. Don't think it's anyone I know. And it looks like we've got a couple more turning up, and they seem to be heading for the classic one, which is the straight down the throat shot. So I'm glad I got this one in the bag before they all start wandering over here. Right, so we're done here for this shot. I've now taken some with my 3-stop filter on because it's starting to brighten up, which gave me 13 to 20 seconds. The reeds were staying nice and still, so that was fine. But we're now starting to get a bit of movement because we're just past sunrise and the wind is starting to pick up and there's a little bit more ripple on the lake. So a long exposure is going to blur out the reeds. We're going to move over and see if we can get the classic shot that looks straight down the pikes. But with that mountain top being covered over, I don't know. I think we'll just give it one go. Well, time for probably the most classic shot from Blea Tarn, and that's using these boulders as a foreground interest and the Langdale pikes as a backdrop with that lovely reflection in the middle. And the reflection's actually coming out quite well. So I've found a group of rocks that I like. They form a nice arc and it fills a good, half of the frame, nearly half of the frame. You've got that lovely reflection behind them and then the backdrop with this lovely moody sky. Okay, we do need some dynamic light, but get what you get, don't you, on the day, and you deal with it. But this is beautiful. So there you go, there's the classic one done. Focus stack on this one, no polarizer. I want as much of that reflection as I can get. Pretty straightforward. It makes for an amazing shot. So that's me done here at Blea Tarn itself. There is a few opportunities over the other side of the fence. It opens out and you get a shot down the valley, but that's not what I'm going to shoot. What I'm going to shoot is, hopefully, fingers crossed, a waterfall. Well, this place is very boggy, so you do need to bring a pair of wellies with you if you come walking around here. You can probably hear me squelching away. Now, apparently Blea Tarn is a site of scientific interest because this is glacial water. The silt in this lake goes back to the last ice age melt. So, yeah, there's a little bit of information for you. Don't say you don't learn anything on my channel. Just don't ask me about trees. So let's head off to the other side and go and check out the waterfalls. Well, I'm going to thank my good lady wife for this shot because I just saw something on her phone and I thought, oh, I'm stealing that. Yeah, it's using the fence again, but it's coming right over in the landscape orientation to the wall itself. So you kind of get a triangular effect. So the fence comes in towards the left, pointing towards the pine, and then you've got the mountains in the backdrop that sweep away to the right with the reflection in it. So I think this works. Oh, I figured I'd steal it off her. Don't tell her. But I am a bit precarious. So to actually get the angle that I want, I've got to get right up here because the fence itself is actually impeding on the reflection, even though the reflection is not very still, to be honest, but it is what it is. I'll show you hers actually, and then I'll show you mine. Please say hers is better, because my life won't be worth living otherwise. So a sneaky little grab there, thanks to the wife. I've got to give credit where credit's due. I quite like that. It was all about working with the wall and making sure that it's not impeding on the reflection and trying to get it so it leads through the shot. Hopefully that's worked out with that nice diagonal across that cuts across with the mountains. So, sneaky grab, let's get down to that waterfall. So welcome to the waterfall side. It's got its own impressive views, look at that. Why? But what I was hoping for was a shot looking up the waterfall. This nice pine here would make a great subject with an S-bend of the waterfall, but unfortunately the sky is very, very bland in the background. I might be able to pull something out of it. So I think I'll find a quick composition for this, and then we'll carry on down the waterfall. But that's such a fine character, he's got to be worth a punt. Well, okay, excuse the water noise. This one's actually proving to be quite difficult to compose. Problem I've got is the tree doesn't sit central in the gap. Doesn't matter how much you move left or right, you're either pushing the tree into the trees or you're removing the river from the scene, and it's just taking you right out of the shot. But the features within it, well, they're wonderful. We got these nice boulders at the beginning. You've got the stream coming down in a sort of S shape. You've got some nice flowing water there on the left that kicks you back in towards the bottom left. Sorry, on the right that kicks you back into the bottom left. But it's that tree. It's too far to the left. But never mind. I've got it balanced as best as I can. Right, well, I've had a bit of a play around with the polarizer on this one, and I actually prefer it polarized. The glare, it doesn't really do anything for the shot, so I'm definitely sticking with that. I've got the nice 1, 2, 3 rocks leading over to the big main section of rocks and the tree in the background. I'm setting this to about half a second, but I'm thinking I'm going to put on my 3-stop as well and take a longer exposure and possibly do some blending. I'll see what I feel. So that's the 3-stop filter applied, and again I'm going to be focus stacking it to make sure that I've got all of the shot in should I need to use it. I've noticed there's a tiny little eddy that comes up as well because it takes it to about a 5-second exposure. I'm not sure it's quite big enough to be dominant in the picture, but it's a nice little touch. Right, see how that one's come out.
I do think this composition worked out quite well in the end. I had a little more detail in the sky than I was anticipating, which I've managed to pull out, and I think the balance has worked out reasonably well. In the end, this became a 3-shot stack. There was movement in the trees in the background, so I used the 1/5 of a second shot for that and for a touch of the waterfalls. But the other 2 shots were for the foreground, and they were both at 5 seconds, giving me some sharpness from front to back.
Well, I think that's enough from that location. I think we need to find one more shot, then it's time for me to take my wife away for a good lunch. It's coming up for 10 o'clock now, so one more shot. What do you think? Well, if ever there was a scene that needed light, this is it. I really like this. The geography of this location is fantastic. You've got some nice big jarring rocks on the right and some rocks on the left, and then you've got this silver birch in the background. Unfortunately, it's got no colour on it, otherwise it would work, to be honest, because that would then pop against the background of the mountains. But it does blend in a bit, so this definitely needs some light on it. But I quite like this. What a wonderful gorge. The stream's coming down and it falls over into that. I'm looking forward to getting down there and see what it actually does. Yeah, but that character there, he's fantastic. I'm going to zoom in on him as well and just take him as a bit of a portrait of him. Yeah, I like this. Shame there's no light. Well, I'm quite intrigued by this tree and the situation it's positioned in. It's quite hard to get it how I want it though. I keep introducing things into the side of the frame that I don't like a bit of foliage that's too close to me, or the sky, or so I've had to kind of work my way around and try and find the best angle I can for it. And I think this is it. It does put a great big slab of rock on the left hand side, but it's a very characterful piece of rock. I'm going to do this at a nice shallow depth of field to try and soften out the background. I've got the polarizer on to cut a bit of the haze out. It's doing a slight job on it. I think this is the best I can do. Wow, look at that. That's where it all drops down, or starts to drop down. Very, very pretty, but very difficult to find anything that's a composition, I'll be quite honest. I've spotted a log in the water there though. Does blend into the rocks a bit. Might act as a feature, get a bit of glisten on it. Give it a go. Well, what a beautiful stretch waterfall this is, but it's very inaccessible. Done the best I can from here, I'll be honest. Zoning in on something is the way forward here, I believe. So I've gone in on this section there. Tried to simplify it by using a square crop. The big problem I've got is I've got a section of foliage right in the bottom left corner that's going to be out of focus. Hopefully it's not too distracting and it just adds a bit of depth to the image. Well, I've shot it at 1/4 of a second, my favourite exposure for moving water. And it seems to work quite well in this instance. It does depend on the speed of the water, to be honest. So that's as much as I can do from here, I think. I'm going to have a go at that bit with the log, but I'm looking at it and I don't think there really is much interest there. Don't know. I'll take the shot now. You have a look at it, let me know what you think. I'm going to try and get a little bit more height and see if I can incorporate a bit more of the log that's down there. There's two, a stumpy one and then one that's running all the way down the length of the waterfall. that's in the bottom section. So. Well, I think that's the best angle I can get on this, and it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, happy days. Right, well, I think it's time for me to go away and take my wife for a lovely meal. She's had the patience to sit around and wait for me whilst I do this vlog, so she deserves it. Thank you, darling. Right, well, that's it from me at Blea Tarn. Nice, easy, accessible place. I'm off to meet the 7.1 guys tomorrow. 7.1? No, thumbs up photography. Yeah, they got so many things going on. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at thumbs up, and I'll see the rest of you guys in the next one.